Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another live stream. Today is Monday, March the 22nd. So we've got a little bit of time I need to kill as I'm trying to set up some things. The new tab suspending extension I have is just not working, so it's like randomly has 2 or 3 times now randomly closed or worked in conjunction with the old anti-duplicate tab extension to randomly close things, tabs, which wastes a lot of time, and so that is something that I just don't want to see have happen. So um, the thing, okay, we want to kind of block that element and hope that that doesn't create a big deal there. So the thing I'm testing right now is to make sure that I'm not gonna have dropped frames or network trouble by having the YouTube Studio tab open. See, I don't know how anybody does this, frankly, because you basically have to open the tab, then close a tab, or browse away from the tab, and none of those are things you really want to have happen if you're using OBS. So YouTube Studio is just like stupid. What can I say? Like, let's see. Is there possibly... Nope. See, if I even try to browse away, it asks if you want to end the stream. I mean, just straight up retarded. I mean, I hate to use the R word. You're not supposed to use that anymore, but how can YouTube be so dumb that that without using a third-party extension on Chrome to suspend a tab, you can't stop the video from playing back and wasting your bandwidth while you're streaming and uploading. That's... Well, I guess it's working, so I'll worry about the stupidity of YouTube later, I suppose. And I didn't have to do any network rigmarole today, which that is nice too. It's a nice to, on a rare occasion, not have to spend an extra 5 minutes of time. Let's see. I want to play Dragoncraft. This is the pick 2 cards thing. So, what was the other options as far as our daily quests? See if we can come back here and check. If not Dragoncraft, Runecraft, which I've been trying Runecraft for a long time. It's been like 2 or 3 weeks, it feels like, what I've been trying to push us to Runecraft, and just does not work. Well, is this Runecraft or is this Spellcraft? Is this Runecraft or is this Spellcraft? Yeah, let's do this one.
You'll make a good test subject.
That is Spellcraft. Nope, it is the Runecraft. Okay. What does Dimensional Shift do? Take an extra turn after this. That'd be great. That'll never work. And if it is gonna work, it's gonna work by luck more than anything else. For the accountability section, I am still playing Pinball Arcade. I've run into more programming issues, particularly for the emulating of it, and it kind of sucks because really I'm at the point where I'd like to just beg people to gift me like all of the DLC for Pinball FX3, because most of those tables I imagine are on that are on Pinball Arcade are on Pinball FX3 at this point, and and I'm hoping that Pinball FX3 just runs better and has more features. There are some major problems when it gets down to the kind of nitty gritty of emulation that are just missing in Pinball Arcade in favor of nothing else. You almost would believe the idea that they were just trying to be realistic and only emulate the experience of actually playing pinball. So nothing like save states um, or rewind, playback buffers, and things like that exist in Pinball Arcade. Where nowadays in 2021, having seen what RetroPie and LibRetro and RetroArch can all do, those things feel like they should be in Pinball Arcade. On top of which, some of the best tables are like the first generation tables that Pinball Arcade made, so you can't even move the camera around and look at the field. And even when you do have a pro mode option that does let you move around and look at the pinball table, it often doesn't let you look at the top half of the backboard, so the camera is just in the total wrong place. And in a weird way, even owning almost like every table in Pinball Arcade, it's still not as many tables as you would like. I don't know how you would get like some of the licensed music tables, like an Aerosmith table or Twisted Sister. I don't think there was a Twisted Sister table, but maybe there was, or the Playboy table. That definitely existed. Those things are just kind of missing and would require more negotiation, sure, but that's where you kind of have to go as you've got the bigger and the best. Pinball Arcade probably does have the top 25, top 30 tables that they could negotiate, and there's probably not that many difference, that many card tables missing. But yeah, I would like to see less of a curation and more of a complete collection, frankly. But yeah, I just played Black Knight 2000, and a pretty great table. But when I'm actually looking at each individual table, you can see Black Knight 2000 came out in like 88 or 89. There's still things that could be fixed and tweaks. If you were going to remake and remaster every pinball table of the past, there's some basic things you could easily figure out. Like, make sure every table has a 3-ball multi-ball, which a lot don't. Make sure every table has kickbacks both on both sides. Make sure it has a ball saver feature. Try to fix any angles on the table that let the ball drain out either through the center or through the out lanes. Fix that so it doesn't happen as much. Put a center peg in it. Get rid of any pegs that happen to be in between ramps or lanes, making it harder to go up ramps and lanes. Tilt a lot of the play fields. Frankly, a lot of the play fields have very, very sharp angled ramps where you have to hit the ball at full power and full momentum to get all the way to the top of that ramp, where just a slight physical adjustment so that the table was closer to being level instead of tilted would make it so much easier. And easy probably is what you're going for with pinball these days. You're trying to attract kids, you're trying to attract people who've never played pinball before. At this point, arcades are dead, so it's silly to think about the idea of focusing on it'd be silly to focus on expert pinball players and collectors and such. They've already been served. Pinball, if it's ever going to get revived, needs to start from scratch and start with a new generation. But yeah, as far as Pinball Arcade, they picked the right tables, so the tables I'm playing are pretty good. Cyclone's great, Black Knight 2000's great, Taxi is great. A lot of these tables extremely generic in their names. Do I want to do this? Or do I want to do something else? Just go ahead and do this. That's kind of wasteful. So yeah, there is a lot to like. I did find one table called TX Sector, which I guess stands for Transmission Sector. That is pretty awful. It's the worst table I've seen so far. But boy, just the music on Black Knight 2000 had something. Was so amazing and so good that it was frankly getting a little distracting just listening to the background music and the table music as I'm playing pinball. The only real feature in Pinball Arcade is the ball skins, and they suck. Like, first of all, the main interface makes it really easy to accidentally select a ball skin, a pinball skin that you don't want, and nobody really wants different looking pinballs. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, we can do that. And then we can do that. And we can do that. That's weird. Could I spell boost every card? With impalement arts? I don't think I can. Alright, so I'm going to try and go through the news and all the games and try and hurry up. It's currently raining outside, and since nothing causes my internet to fall out and break, I wouldn't be surprised one bit if something also causes my internet to break, so I want to keep that in mind. So we've got a game on Steam here called Town of Machine, which looks like it's a top-down twin-stick shooter. These graphics don't seem to match with these graphics at all. $11.24 English only. I may miss some things because so many of the tabs were suspended and then closed. But those could have also been all duplicates. Okay. 2 twin enemy. That's not bad.
My hands are tied.
And then do that.
My hands are tied.
And I'd have to spell boost more. If at least 8 other cards were played this turn. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna ever happen. Let's see. Next, we have a game on Steam called For Sparta. Sorry, I'm going quiet here. This is just an arena player versus player game. Doesn't look particularly interesting. It's not as terribly animated as you might think. $1.79, English, Portuguese, Brazil.
Abandon your mortal lives and be saved.
Next, we have a game called Malice and Greed, which looks like it's a terribly animated RPG for $11.99. Forget that.
Ride the wave, know what I mean?
See, next we have a game called Hypnosphere Z, which looks like just a neon barf ball rolling game for $5.99, English only. Okay. So, what does this do?
Salvation circuits malfunctioning.
Okay.
Feel me grasp the sheer boom of infinity.
How much has this been? This does 17 damage divided by all enemies. Interesting. So, I basically could win next turn if I'm lucky. Like, well, it would have to basically... I'd basically have to
Don't cut it anymore.
get really, really lucky, but I might be able to pull that off. I can play this at least first.
Let us conclude.
Here we have a game called Kingdom Defense, which clearly I didn't curate any of this. This is terrible. Free to play. English, allegedly full audio. Alright, well. Do this. And then this will get destroyed. But what can I do? Next we have a game called Castle Survival, which looks like MS Paint graphics. Looks like it's a side-scrolling RPG. You beat 'em up. Oh, it's a tower defense according to the tag. 69 cents, English only. Nothing there of interest. I don't know if we have a lot of news to talk about today, frankly. There's basically two stories that I think I've seen, but the weekend seemed to be fairly slow. I could draw a card. I could do this.
This match is mine.
Wow, getting the ultimate claim golem to say whenever golem comes into play. Let's see what this does. Nice. Okay. Banish. Banish. Return. Finish that one. Finish that one. Attack here. How did the health get back up? I have no idea how that health got that high. Here we have a game called As Fast as Possible, which just looks like a platformer using columns in space. Early access $4.99. Third party EULA, English full audio. Nothing there of interest. Like they're trying extremely hard to heal. Here we have a game called Triple Dungeon, which yep, doesn't look like anything. Seems like you're playing 3 games at the same time, which just feels like it would be crazy. $2, English only. Here we have a game called Just a Game to Test Your IQ, which clearly is some kind of low effort asset flip horror game, free to play.
Your defeat was foretold.
So yeah, what this is really going to show today is that we're still getting a decent amount of garbage games. Okay. I could do a lot more, but I might as well just take the victory here, since we are playing the arena. Let's take the victory and be cautious.
That should do it.
Plus that should be one towards the daily quest also. Alright. We potentially here could get even 2 or 3 victories. Here we have a game called You and Music, which almost feels like it's trying to be a kid-friendly dance game, but really it's just low effort asset flip stuff. And you can kind of see in the background you have some blurry images of real world people. Maybe singers, maybe just Asian looking people. $1.19, English only. They're comparing it to Clicker Heroes. I guess maybe it is a clicker. Doesn't really look like a clicker to me, but I mean it could be, certainly. Right. So you don't want this. You might want this. Probably don't want that. Here we have a game called Felix the Toy, which looks like it's a platformer that's just not a visual style I'm sold on immediately. Let me look here and see if I think it feels like there's just too many collectibles here, and it doesn't feel like there's any enemies, so you're just wandering around trying to get coins and collectibles, which inherently what this means is that there's probably only a few levels at most, and that they would have spent too much time making 3D levels and placing coins instead of creating more of an interesting gameplay mechanic. I did hear about a interview question that's sometimes asked for game developers or people who want to work in the game industry is they want you to talk out what would happen if you removed, say, paper from rock, paper, scissors. How would the game continue to, how would the game be affected? And yeah, thinking about that, I honestly could not think of a great way to keep rock, paper, scissors interesting. My first instinct would be pick 3 sets of rocks, papers, and scissors and add a whole bunch of more rules in which sometimes, well, if you took paper out, just pick 3 sets of paper and scissors. If you took rocks out, I guess in that case, and then figure out some rules in which they both could defeat each other in combinations, and see if you can make it fair that way. I'm not sure if 3 is enough. I'm not sure if you wouldn't have to pick 5 and create special rules one way or the other. Or if there literally is just no way to have rock and paper be a thing, there might be no way. You can have black and white pieces on chess, certainly, and red and black and red pieces in checkers. So I guess maybe if you added more elements, you could drastically change rock, paper, scissors to still work that way. But I don't know if that's a particularly great question. It is definitely also one of those questions that is just designed to make the player, make the interviewee, the person being interviewed, think out loud and just hear their thinking process. Generally, it's to weed out people who would just say, I have no idea, and just clam up and not say anything in an interview. And because if they're clamming up and not saying anything when posed a question in an interview, they're more than likely going to clam up and not say anything in meetings, and that's not particularly the type of employee that you're going to want for a video game position. Okay. Do we want to evolve now?
Mana, come forth. Worlds crumble before my magic bends reality.
Moving on, we have a game on Steam called Out of the Shelter, which says it's a multiplayer first-person multiplayer session shooter with quest elements. To me, it just looks like it's an asset flip thing. $2.99 English Russian online PvP. That's way too cheap for a multiplayer game. We have here a Toho fan-made virtual autography, which seems to be just a Toho shoot-'em-up game. $10.49 English and Japanese. Definitely feels like the fans of Toho are very rabid and very numerous. Either that or there's some major shenanigans going on. Get rid of that one. Return that one. Continuing to spell boost as much as possible. Next we have Dairy Dave, which I feel like this is an older game. It says it came out on the 20th, which I don't know if we talked about it. It's free, it's English, looks like it's an infinite runner. It honestly looks like it's better than most infinite runners that we do see. And I guess it kind of has a bit of a joke happening there where you're milking cows and delivering the milk. Has this been 12 times yet? Nope. And I don't want to do that yet, and I don't want to do that yet. So I'm just gonna leave myself completely vulnerable, which that's dumb. Yeah, we have a game called Toothy History, which looks like it's just a single screen dinosaur platformer game for 59 cents. English only. Well, I don't think we can survive that.
Lovely day for a fight.
Are we done?
Okay. What can we do? Well, I've lost, but I did get this up to 12. Where this one, you basically have to have that on the first turn to get it down. See, next we have a game called Relics of Ancestors, which this looks like just a Chinese RPG. Doesn't actually look too bad, actually. Early access, English not spoiled, $1.79. Let's keep on playing. Got one daily quest done. We are very close to the end of this expansion and a new expansion for the what am I trying to say, for the Shadowverse. Yeah. Next we have a game called Sweep. I can definitely feel that I really don't have enough energy to do pre-recordings and then stream. This game is $3.99, English, Ukrainian, and Russian. It's a top-down twin-stick shooter. It looks terrible. So the smart move would definitely be to not do that. However, I can't really agree to doing that because what happens is I often wake up at 5 or 6 in the morning and I should be doing something, and I don't have anything other to do than pre-record some footage. So I think the live streams are just gonna have to suffer. In all honesty, if it weren't for the fact that particularly recently the live streams have been getting me more subscribers, and thanks to anyone who did subscribe, I would not do them at all. It would be way easier for me to just look at the games myself, and I could probably break it down to a weekly stream on Saturday if I curated all the games. That certainly would be a thought. Is just have one long stream on Saturday talking about games that are actually worth talking about, and talking about video game news on a weekly basis, fairly slow to respond on video game news, but that doesn't really probably matter that much. Next here we have a game called Replay, a puzzle game, which
It tastes better
like
than it looks.
nothing for $1.99. Here we have a game called Snow Survival, which looks to me like it might actually be a fairly polished survival game, but you can see it's already mixed. Early access 719, bunch of languages. Do I want to play a game like this though, where you're getting attacked by what looks like Native Americans in the snow, which makes very little sense. This is just not the proper dress for any group of people in that weather. Let's see. Do I want to draw a card or do I want to wait and draw 2 cards? I think I want to wait and draw 2 cards. No, I don't think I want to play Snow Survival. There's very few survival games I want to play. Let's see, just make sure this game is YouTube family friendly. Close enough. Here we have a game called Succubus Farm. So we're getting anime games and animated games with lewdness and big breasts, and those are still being allowed on Steam. This is $13.49, Japanese full audio. I don't think there's much here, although it is tagged as mostly positive. It's also tagged as a JRPG, and you can see in the background there is RPG elements that they are shying away from actually showing. 3 cards. 2 to an enemy fall arrow. Subtract, draw 2 cards. Banish that. And then do this. And then end the turn. Giant Chimera is the card we should have more than anything else. And it'll be important to recognize that Steam is still letting at least censored version of adult games onto their storefront, because we try to keep an eye on that to make sure that they haven't decided to change their position there. And we are going to have a story about Super Seducer 3 where it's not being allowed in any form on Steam because it has live action lewd or nudity in it. Or from what I heard or saw on Reddit, it has live action of a potentially underage or confirmed underage person, which that certainly changes the equation quite a bit for almost everyone. Let's see. I mean, you could do this. And
I will not
do
suffer
this.
you.
And then do
Feel me press
this.
the sheer flow of infinity.
Then do this. We're up to 6 damage.
This is your fate.
I could have evolved that and done 4 damage instead. Next, we have a game on Steam called Mage Drops, which looks like a swinging platforming game. It doesn't look like enough of a game to make me think it really is a game and not just an asset flip. There's just too much random things unconnected here. This is $9.99 English only. You can see these guys are wrecking me. Which... let's go ahead and banish that. And... let's go ahead and hit that. And then hit that. I should have played differently. Go ahead and draw 2 cards.
Colts has come in every shade imaginable.
Okay. Interesting. I have like 9 cards, so I could play this later. I could put 2 copies of this on the field. I could, yeah, I could play this and then use this on this to put it on the field, draw it again, play it for 0. Meanwhile, let's just do this.
Wait, how did I lose?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how I lost there, but I did get fairly wrecked in that case. So I'm not surprised. Also not really surprised that starting with 1 win wasn't going to lead to a 5-win victory or anything like that. I believe there is an achievement in this game for doing that. I don't know if I'm ever actually going to get it. Here we have a game called Battle for Esturia, which I feel like Esturia is close to like a biological word, not a land or area. Yeah, this looks like it's nothing of interest. $8.49 is way too expensive. English full audio. Don't want this. Don't want this. Don't want this. Next we have a game that's just all Asian characters. Looks like it's some kind of Minesweeper game with an anime girl in 3D, which we've seen a game where you play as bunnies. It seems like maybe the Minesweeper does make slightly more use of the 3D element, and so it isn't just generic Minesweeper. But English was not supported. It's $8.99. I assume it's Chinese, and that turned out to be right. But at least they put some effort into it. Way better than Bunny Minesweeper, whatever the name of that game was called. Here we have a game called Condor versus Ocelots, which looks like it is a strategy placement game. Yeah, nothing that looks like it interests me. It's free with a third-party EULA, English full audio. You might check that out if you're interested, but it's probably not worth your time. And then we have 9-9, episode 4. We may have already talked about this too. Yeah, we already did. But yeah, a dating sim visual novel. And that was from the 19th. Might as well play this, I guess. Here we have a Gametsu article. Tohu Hiyobana Antimony of Common Flowers for the PS4 Switch launches April 22nd in Japan. This, to me, looks like more of a fighting game than a shoot 'em up game. See if we can get an idea. Yeah, yep. it is a fighting game with the Toho witches flying around all over the place, which makes for a weird fighting game where every character can infinitely be in the air. I'm just gonna play this so I don't lose a card. I think we may have already talked about this too. Say No More launches April 19th. This is the game where you scream no at people. Very Japanese centric. And I probably have talked about this too. Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel Sakyo Battle Royale teaser website has been opened. So they're starting, I guess, a new generation of Yu-Gi-Oh! New generation of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, maybe an anime around it. I would think an anime around it. If you go back and like look at the original season of Yu-Gi-Oh! And look at how these characters are animated now, there's a big difference there. But it's been quite a while too, so it's not incredibly surprising that that's the case. Let's see. Tech Raptor has an article. Monster Harvest release date is set for later this spring, June 3rd, 2021 to be exact. This looks like a Stardew Valley game, which I kind of like the zoomed in look of this, and the Pokemon element to it might be a little bit more attractive, but I still feel like you're going to just end up you're gonna just kind of end up having okay, yeah, you're gonna just end up doing a lot of Stardew Valley farming in a game like that. Tech Raptor has the Legacy of Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, which is 15 years old, which I've never played Oblivion, and it's never really been in enough of a good shape to be playable, in my opinion. Let's see if we can survive. Okay. That won't do anything. I mean, I could return some card. I could banish an enemy follower. I can do 2 damage to an enemy follower. So if you like banish that, and then banish one of those. And then I could maybe do 3 damage random to a random follower. That's pretty much it.
I will not suffer you.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I can do. Well, I could have evolved. I could have tried to evolve it.
No way.
Maybe.
No, wait. How did I lose?
TikTok's owner, ByteDance, has acquired the Mobile Legends developer Moontone, which I guess TikTok is going to try to get into gaming, which TikTok is already targeting itself, whether it wants to admit it or not, to kids. So them getting into gaming seems directly in line with that. Tech Raptor has an article. Iron Gate ramps up work on Valheim Hearth and Home update, which I guess just means they're working on the update. I don't know if there's any more news that's really important. Tech Raptor has 5 things we want to see in a Tomb Raider anime. 5 things. So they want Camilla Luddington, who I have no idea who that is. Jonah and hopefully Sam. Like, those were characters from the first game, I think. Exotic locales. Okay, I can get on board with that one. Laura as a seasoned explorer with character development. Women writers and directors behind the scenes. Honestly, I would much prefer good writers and directors behind the scenes instead of just token hires. But SJWs are all about the token hires, and unfortunately, I kind of feel like some of the Tech Raptor people have started to go down that route too, which is a shame because I picked Tech Raptor because they seem to be a little bit wiser than that. Particularly Courtney here seems like she's kind of the worst fit amongst the group, or maybe she's a great fit and the rest of the group is just not as vocal. See, the problem, particularly with Laura Croft, if I can think this clearly and not end up saying something kind of dumb, is you're not just writing a woman from a woman's perspective. You're writing a rich woman who has a butler and who runs around stealing magical artifacts, shooting dinosaurs and bad guys. You're writing James Bond, basically. And since nobody has really lived that experience, then you just need somebody who can write a good fantasy character, a good fictional character. I seriously doubt Ian Fleming, when writing the James Bond books, did everything in every single book he wrote and was a spy and had lived that experience, or could even like directly relate to it. It just takes somebody with a creative mentality.
Don't leave me! Don't leave me!
Let's see. Moving on, Gamma Sutra has an article here. Dead Cells sold 1 million copies, misspelled here, COPIES, in China with a few days of launch. So, is this on Steam? I don't know what platform, if there is a platform that it was sold on. Can we do two things? We can now. 7. See, next we have a game on Steam here called Dying Flame, which just looks like an RPG Maker game for $13.49, English full audio. Let's see. What does this do? Necromancy 6. Or deal 2 damage. Let's just do that. We're up to 9. Next we have a game on Steam here called Warbox, which seems to have a screenshot specifically showing wound damage on the back of a character, which is weird because like all of the characters don't look that interesting, so it seems like this is glorifying gore and violence more than I think I would find acceptable. This is early access for $4.99, English full audio. The emphasis here is pretty extreme, and those aren't great looking wounds at all. But that is, I think, too extreme. 3 random damage to 3. 2. Deal 3 damage here. Destroy that. Hit that. And go ahead and evolve.
Oh my gosh, so many crystals!
So, can't quite play that yet, but might be able to win here. Let's see. TechRaptor has an article here. Fallout 76 2021 roadmap brings new gears, new quests, and more, which I don't know if anybody cares about Fallout 76 in general, but there is an instance, certainly a thought there, where that if Bethesda is now owned by Microsoft, which it is, and they're focusing still on making content for Fallout 76, that might be a good indication instead of it just being immediately canceled. Whereas I could also see it being immediately canceled. This has been the 0 times, so playing that was probably a mistake. This could draw 3 cards. This is not gonna work.
Let's go, everyone.
Wow, it did work. Huh.
Grasp the sheer flow of infinity!
I think I might be able to win here. If I can keep this alive to do 4 damage and then play this in 2 turns. Risk of Rain has a 2-year anniversary update coming March 25th. This is Risk of Rain 2. So that's a game that seems like it did a decent job of supporting its people, or supporting its fans, supporting the game. Okay. What can we do to save the day? Gain an empty orb. Draw 2 things and restore 3 defense. That might work. 2 damage to enemy follower. And then we put 1 card in your... Okay. Do not do that. I think you have to do this. I think you have to do this. Go ahead and hit this.
This match is mine.
Your journey's almost through. Death is your
Kill
fate.
that. Do we have enough damage
Failed.
to win next turn? Probably not.
Does it gnaw at your flesh?
Wait, how did I lose?
Oddly got closer to victories with that deck than any deck I've ever built, but yeah. Close but no cigar. The stage ended while I was playing. I have to load back in. TechRep has an article here. Hidden Palace starts a Project Deluge, releasing over 700 PlayStation 2 prototypes and demos. Which, yeah, that will be interesting to collectors and people who want to see demos. Not particularly interesting to an average person who just wants to play their language ROM of an old game and like the final release version of that ROM. That's kind of the problem with running emulators and trying to collect ROMs, is that you can get overwhelmed with different versions and complete collections. Right, so I guess we are back to Druidcraft or Dragoncraft, and we get to play again since it reset at... Okay, so this
You'll make a good
again,
test subject.
and then I don't know if Dimension Shift is particularly useful. But we'll try it again. That's not worth it. 9 for 3/5. It can't possibly be worth it. This is a different kind of chimera. It's not the one I would like, but whatever. I'm actually looking at the cards this time. There we go, giant chimera. Let's see if that works. ScumVM had another announcement. They're happy to announce Private Eye by Brooklyn Media is now ready for public testing. So this was a game released in 1996. It's a rare gem of cell animation technique and professional voice acting based on Raymond Chandler's work. The game plays like an interactive movie where you choose which version of the story play. One is faithful to the book while the other has an alternate ending. Only the US release for Windows is supported at the moment. So ScumVM still expanding its level of supported emulated things. Let's see. This is probably not what I want. That's not what I want, and that's not what I want. Let's just re-roll. Gamatsu has Resident Evil 7 Biohazard Gold is coming to Stadia on April 1st. Resident Evil Village is coming at launch. So, Capcom is willing to experiment with Stadia, but I wouldn't be surprised if that is the last company willing to do business with Google for Stadia, and the last time Capcom was willing to do business with Stadia. Like, I couldn't imagine that any company, even like Konami, would be dumb enough to continue doing business with Stadia at this point. Just go ahead and play that. Let's see. TechRaptor has an article here. The PS3, PS Vita, and PSP stores are going to reportedly be soon shut down. This is from The Gamer, originally. This was something that was kind of breaking news when I started streaming. It's totally believable. Certainly, I mean, why wouldn't that be believable that Sony of California, Sony Interactive Entertainment, now officed in California, would be more than happy to shut down services that they didn't establish. Like, that was under old leadership. Now the new leadership can come in and do their own thing. They can cancel any resource drains such as that. It's not like any of those stores are particularly well maintained even now. Now, I do have a PlayStation 3, which theoretically I have to play Blu-rays, but I haven't played a Blu-ray in probably 10 years at this point. So I kind of feel like there's not a big focus there. It would kind of suck if I launched my PlayStation 3 and realized that there was just like nothing worked. I never bought any games on the store for it anyway, so it wouldn't matter, but
Why are you so afraid of needles anyway?
yeah, if anything, I should probably set up the PlayStation 3 to be an emulation station too. That would make a lot more sense. It would be definitely a lot more powerful than a Raspberry Pi 4, although questionable whether that power could be actively and correctly implemented.
Verifying access.
Let's see. Gamma Searcher has an article here. Media Molecule Studio Director Siobhan Reddy is to receive a BAFTA fellowship, which I'm not sure what they mean by fellowship. I think fellowship award makes a lot more sense. Feels like if you're getting a fellowship, you're being called to work for BAFTA, and that doesn't seem to be the case. Gamatsu has a game listing here. Ninja Ja Maru collection is coming to the PS4 on May 20th. We're still seeing a lot of PS4 announcements for games, particularly Japanese games. TechRaptor has a review for Sanity of Morris, which looks like it might be an adventure game, but obviously it's not that good. They give it a 4.5. Sanity of Morris wants to invoke paranoia and investigative skepticism, but instead elicits frustration and unintentional hilarity. see. Storm. Or can I do something else?
Eradicate it all! Everything but the truth!
Mana, come forth.
Lies! All of you lies! Consider this your awakening!
Verifying access.
Yeah, Sanity Remorse doesn't look very good. The pros are solid environmental design and generous level checkpoints. Cons are terrible stealth sections, awful narrative pacing, and horror elements, tedious linear key hunting puzzles. Sorry. I
You've really irritated
am
me.
really not doing great jobs these days of maintaining focus. I don't think I ever did it that well, but I feel like I'm getting even worse. Okay. If I did this... This has been spell boosted 3 times. This has been spell boosted once.
From the depths of depravity.
This match is mine.
Experience my law of sin!
Verifying access.
Let's see. Here's the article. TechRaptor Super Seducer 3 has been banned from Steam. On Twitter, Richard LaRuina, the idiot, for lack of a better term, who made Super Seducer 1 and 2, has revealed Valve has banned and removed Super Seducer 3 from the Steam storefront and will not allow it to be released in any form. This is directly contradictory to what he said not 2 weeks ago, where he said it would easily be allowed on Steam with just a few edits. Page is gone, and over 61,700 wish lists are gone too, which would be quite a blow for the game that was supposed to launch later this week. This has been the latest in a series of bumps in the road for Super Seducer 3. Let's see. There was shrinking hope that the game would ever be approved by Valve on the February 15th, and then March 1st there was almost 100% chance the game would launch on Steam. The reason that the game isn't launching is that Valve says they won't ship. Let's see, we'll want to look at that Twitter tweet. A game with sexually explicit images of real people. Lorena clarified after the initial announcement that the game was rejected in 3 different forms: the uncensored version, the Twitch censored version, and the specifically built version that uncensored some things from the Twitch, but but addressed some areas he thought Valve might have some problems with. So he never submitted a more censored version than the Twitch censored version. He seems to think that he's going to sell it somewhere else, although it seems like Good Old Games and Epic doesn't want anything to do with it either, which I'm not super surprised there.
From the depths of depravity.
Become one with the wind.
Shutting down. Verifying access.
So what I had heard is there was an underage
How did I lose?
Let's see, that it was an underage character. At least that's what it was said on Reddit, but that's inherently the problem with a lot of these stories, is you never get the real truth or the details in that, and and it is just the default assumption to say that one of the actresses happened to be underage, even if she was potentially fully clothed. It also might just be more of a case that Steam just cannot verify if all the actresses are
Time to shine,
are of the appropriate age for the place it was recorded. Yeah, here it says they never gave any specific content feedback, so that was just Reddit basically straight up lying, as people on the internet do, as far as the underage thing. Now there is a also issue where the Minds platform CEO has decided to expand lolly anime characters to be completely banned from the store and from the Minds platform, which was supposed to be a free speech platform. And like almost every free speech platform, they seem to immediately fall apart and forget that they were designed to be free speech. But the CEO of Minds went a step further to say, actually, lowly animated porn is illegal in the United States or lots of places around the world. Which, frankly, that's never been a case that's been proven. There have been some countries that have tried to make it illegal, and definitely a few countries where the laws are made by fatwa more than actual judicial precedents or opinions of dictators. So, yeah. But nobody wants to defend that case, and nobody really wants to fight that case. Almost certainly, if the Supreme Court were to look up the idea of creating a completely imaginary character from your mind and having it do, say, or act or express anything at all, that would not pass the freedom of speech constitutionality check. But it wouldn't also be the first time that somebody in the Supreme Court has gone against what they should have judged on, in my opinion. It is a insidious narrative, certainly. Regardless of what the content is, it's always an insidious narrative to say something is illegal and try and shut down the conversation there, particularly if you're not a lawyer, particularly if you've not really been educated by a lawyer. This is what we sort of saw at a long time ago with Valve saying that some of the visual novel games were illegal. They've dropped that because people pushed back on that and made it fairly obvious that Valve was not being believed there in their claims. So, yeah, I would just recommend everyone not try to use legal authority that they can't prove as a way of backing their own personal opinions. Like it would have been much more acceptable to me if the Mind CEO had just said, I just don't like lowly art. I'm not gonna let it on my platform. People would have been fine. We'll leave. This was in the middle of the CEO like banning a whole bunch of people. Yeah, the Super Seducer article, though, to get back to that, seems to be just an article from IGN, and there's really no more news around it than that.
Eradicate it all! Everything but the truth! Consider this your awakening.
See, I have to say, yeah, Valve taking a stance that we just don't want lewd live action games is fine. Like that, there's room for a company like Nutaku or Epic Games Store if they wanted to compete on that route. There's also, I think, an argument that Valve probably will slowly open themselves up to having some nudity. There's almost certainly some game out there that has a live action nudity that has been released on Steam and they just don't even remember that they did it.
I will not suffer you. Consider this your awakening. Your fate.
But like, if you look at the history of live action lewd games and live action nude games, you have the Man game that did have an underage character in it and had to be recalled and banned from sale. You have BMX XXX, which I don't believe had any controversy around it. It was just a very old, ugly-looking game for whatever that's really worth. Let's see. Let's go ahead and hit this. Go ahead and hit this. Go ahead and hit this. And honestly, I can't think of any other games that do have live action nudity in it. It's not worth it, frankly, to make a live action full motion video adult game, frankly. Why put in the work to make it interactive when the bigger money would be first person shoots or VR shoots? I guess if Steam really wanted to sell VR, they would have VR porn. But they don't, and they don't, so. But it's so much easier to have something scripted and just make it a movie in VR than it is to have interactivity or video game elements. And you see that definitely with other cases too. Where there's
This bears further study.
yeah, I don't know what I was gonna say there. I'm still just losing my chain of thought.
Become one with the wind.
Eradicated all, everything but the truth.
I was gonna say, yeah, even when you see the animated adult games, they are always low effort on the actual gameplay mechanics.
Going beyond dimension.
Lies, all of
So
you
it would,
lies.
like, there are always slide puzzles or jigsaw puzzles or simple things like that, or visual novels, which are low effort on the gameplay mechanics. A full motion video is actually fairly, relatively speaking, a quality product.
Eradicated all, everything but the truth.
Wait,
You know, almost one there. Probably know what costs. Anyways, moving on, we have a game on Steam here called Nano Fighter Anti-Disease, which is $3.39. A whole bunch of languages, allegedly full audio in every language. Looks terrible. Here we have a game called Burga Battle, which it looks like a strategy placement RPG. Not my kind of game. $5.99 English only. I'm gonna hit a point here where all the suspended tabs that didn't unsuspend before I uninstalled the plugin are gonna cause me trouble, potentially. Let's see. Gametsu has Override 2 Super Mech League DLC character Black King is now available, which I don't even recall a game called Override 2. Let's see. Team 17 is going to publish its tactical first-person shooter, Ready or Not. We have a bit of a trailer.
Underestimate me.
This one's for my family.
Yeah, it seems like it is going to be sort of like Rainbow Six Siege, which I could certainly get the idea of them potentially trying to do something like Rainbow Six Siege and just have that same amount of success or more without Ubisoft being involved. A Rainbow Six Siege clone might be liked, but I honestly don't think there's enough of a fan base for 2 Rainbow Six Siege type games. I'm not sure there's enough of a fan base for even one. Here we have a Gametsu article. Since Memories, Sin CE Memories Off the Starry Sky launches this summer in Japan for the PS4 and Switch, which looks like it's a visual novel starring 2 characters. That's pretty much all I'm gonna grab from that bit of information. Here we have a game called Sir Christopher, which looks like a platformer. Looks like it might have a little bit of polish here. Not sure if there's a game though, or if you're just kind of jumping and walking around. The fact that you can climb up the ledges seems like the game would be incredibly easy. Yeah, looking at this trailer, it doesn't look like there's enough of a game. 59 cents English, Russian. Yep. And here's our first bit of even a slight indication that something might be
You're a solid fighter.
going on. So, let's go ahead and click that.
That should do it.
There's a problem with the grouping element in Chrome as it is, because there's just this There we go. Sorry, I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to work without a tab suspender. I probably am not. But yeah, the grouping element to add something to a group is kind of hassle, and it doesn't really do too much.
Don't underestimate me.
Like
Bow before
it's
Dark
not
Dragoon,
it's
ruler of
not
the
really
skies.
useful for me, I think, in general, because you're going to end up only really making use of it in the case that you want a bunch of tabs open, but then you don't want those tabs to specifically specifically be in your top bar, which is an odd scenario. And really, it's just a case of me being, I think, a digital hoarder. That's more than anything. The Fall is free at the Epic Game Store. The game called The Fall. And Nightbot still does not work as far as playing music. Let's see. Sorry, I'm doing two different things at a time and distracting myself. There we go. Well, that's going to work fairly well. Although that'll be a slowdown on the network. I had to install the old extension to restore everything. That way I don't have to hassle with that. And then we'll see if we can maybe find a different program that conflicts. Sorry, I'm going super quiet here. Let's focus on playing. Did we talk about this game, Tetracube? It doesn't look like anything interesting. Isometric roguelike game. Turn-based. See if we can maybe see some gameplay. Little chibi robot characters for no good reason. $6.99. That's a lot of animation being shown here. Yeah, for the actual game that you get to see here, that animation is completely out of place, and then you have the cliched multiple eye color heterochroma. So yeah, we have a game called Death Escape, which looks like it's a horror game. with enough visual polish to at least deserve a follow, I think, as long as it supports the English language.
We've got it all.
This could be nothing. Interesting symbols. I don't recognize a pattern like this at all. Seems like it's completely made up pattern. Slants. Yeah. This is free to play, English and Chinese. Single player. I'm going to put this on the follow list, but also being a free to play game puts it in a weird position because if it's free to play, then why bother play it at all? I could just tell people to check it out if they're interested.
Satisfied.
Then do that.
There's still a lot to come.
And then draw 2 cards. Let's play
There's a
something.
brighter future for everyone.
Next we have a game called DIY My Lady, which I won't show everything because it looks like some of these characters are in bikinis. It's clearly just an asset flip of a whole bunch of stuff for $5.34. They're saying it involves augmented reality. I don't know how you could actually augment reality here. None of this looks like augmenting reality and using a camera input. Every single background looks like it is real. Yeah, this is clearly just asset flip garbage. Right. 3 damage to an enemy now, or wait? Let's see. This. And then this.
I will not suffer you.
And evolve.
Mana, come forth.
Your journey's almost through. Death is your fate.
Hit that. And then hit this. And I guess that's as much as I can do. Here we have a game on Steam called Harvested, which looks like nothing.
You will atone for wasting my time.
Yep. I am uninterested, particularly at the price of $12.74. These images are not all loaded. And see, I'm in a weird position here where maybe I did miss some information or articles, but I don't think I did. I just think it was an incredibly slow weekend. Like, this came out on the 20th. So, yeah. I don't know what.
Ready to witness my true strength?
Sheer hubris of
I don't know if I missed anything or not, and I'll just have to kind of scroll through what's on Steam. There basically would have been some other news if news had happened, I would have heard about it. Is what I'm trying to say there, and I've just turned into a stuttering fool at this point. 3 damage to an enemy. Draw a card. Alright, well, I'll do this. And then do this.
Class is in session.
And then just do this.
Become one with the wind.
And this.
Become
And this.
One with the wind.
Hmm. And then I guess that.
Grasp the sheer flow of infinity. Ready to set.
I embrace all manner of spellcraft.
Dimensional shift. Take an extra turn after this one.
This match is mine. Worlds crumble before my magic.
So next turn I could basically just play dimensional shift if these guys are alive. I could do potentially 9 damage and then another 9 damage. Here we have a game on Steam called Magic Balls. This is just Bubble Bobble clone for 59 cents as English and Russian.
Feel thy sins and iniquities.
You have angered me.
Thy punishment, the
A lot of these tabs were duplicate tabs, so
Cut the rough
maybe
stuff.
the anti-duplicate thing did literally just clean out the duplicates and was working perfectly. It's kind of hard to tell. Alright.
From the depths of depravity, may the underworld devour you. Claw of sin! That's one way of doing it.
Okay.
Become one with the wind.
This bears further study.
Feel me grasp the sheer flow of infinity.
Let's see. 6 damage. Or 3 damage. Or nothing.
Eradicate it all! Everything! Consider this your awakening!
There we go. So we have like 17 damage. Frankly, I could have potentially played that this turn and won. Wasn't paying enough attention, was I? You'd have a hard time doing 12 damage to me, but I bet they can do it. Tick Raptor has a review here for a game called Mundaun, or Mundaun. Mundane. Looks like it's a horror game. It's 7.5. Mundane lacks polish. Lack of polish isn't undone by its staringly unnerving atmosphere. Gamers with an appreciation for slow moments in games will find themselves befuddled. Everyone else might find a hidden gem. Alright, well, 17 damage should win.
Victory is a testament to your strength.
The pros: a unique visual style, adds an unsettling aura, makes players vulnerable, clear signposting when leaving room, while leaving room for exploration. The cons are irregular stuttering on Series X, awful AI, and combat feels weightless. Wow, 2 victories with room for a 3rd victory. Heck, I might actually make it to the A round. That would be insane. First time for everything, I suppose. Here we have a game called Realms of Antiquity: The Shattered Crown, which I think is a different game from a very similar looking game we looked at. These are 2020 games though. $20 too. English only. Yeah, that's not gonna fly. Here we have a game called Clear Tunnel, which
Don't
looks like it's
underestimate
just
me.
a kind of Flappy Bird style clone. We have to avoid the walls. 59 cents, English only. Right. Kind of don't want to keep that. I have so many of those anyways. OBS wanted to point people out that there was a fake Facebook pages that were targeting users to get them to download malware. The official Facebook page is Facebook/Open Broadcaster Software. Only go to obsproject.com to download it. Interesting that it links to an HTTP instead of an HTTPS in that case, but whatever. So if you're a streamer or if you use open broadcast software for some other reason, I did hear a podcaster talk about how they let their 11 or 12-year-old with their friends make a video and put it on YouTube. A, against the YouTube's rules, but no parent knows that nor cares. But B, just how shocked the parent really felt once they saw, oh yeah, this video is now on the internet for anyone to see, and that's potentially going to be on the internet forever. I think it was also slightly shocked by the just natural fact that when kids are alone with their friends, they tend to experiment and use language and words that is not acceptable to their parents. So there is that danger also. I would at the very least have wanted, if I was the parents, to be in the room and have a long conversation in general. But yeah, you have a kid, he's playing with his friends at the friend's house. You've already signed up for things to happen that you aren't going to be in direct control of or even know about happening. Do I want to draw spell boost more? So yeah, just say be careful out there. Always posting things to the internet. Here we have a game called Relics of Ancestors, which looks just like an RPG game. We may have already talked about this one. Doesn't look terrible. This was the one that didn't support English, yeah. And I have like 5 more tabs, but I think I have to kind of go back and just double check, because I may have a lot more tabs. Here we have a Chinese game that looks like it's a combination of just weird imagery. That's some kind of visual novel. I'm not sure I absolutely love this pencil sketch look, but it's an interesting idea. Maybe just needs a little bit more detail and shading. For a horror game, which I assume this is, although it's being tagged as a ward game, that might work. English not supported again, $1.69 in Chinese only. Okay. Spell boost. What are we gonna do? Yeah, I guess you want to do this one. And then evolve here. TechRaptor had an article. Cyberpunk 2077 patch 1.2 will fix cops and street races. So they seem to be taking feedback as well as they could, and seem to actually be trying to fix Cyberpunk 2077, which they kind of have to at a certain point, because there's otherwise going to be this real weird issue there where either CD Projekt Red would have to go completely out of business, and that's the reason why they never fixed 2077, or they have to fix it before they can release any other game ever. Otherwise it is just going to be, where's that 2077 patch? Where's Half-Life 3? I don't want to see anything else from CD Projekt Red except for except for that patch. That will be the kind of feedback they completely get. See, deal 3 to an enemy. Do this. Draw a card. Do this. This one. And then this one. And then guess I can't really do anything else.
This match is mine. It was nearly done.
And might as well just give rush to a character. For no reason. TechRaptor has this article, which I guess is more of a opinion piece than anything. The history of bisexuality in gaming, which, okay, they have 1980s to 1990s bi Easter eggs. What game is this?
How long before the curse withers you? Witness my cursed power.
A game called Moon Mist. Apparently. And then
Does it gnaw at your flesh?
apparently in Fallout 2. And then 1990s to 2010. What do you forgot? Let's see. Let's see. Fable 2 and Fable 3 are getting mentioned. As a character. Street Fighter's Juri Han has a taunt that says, I like boys, I like girls too. Both are fun in different ways. Do we want to do this? I think we do.
From the depths of depravity.
There's no turning back now.
I watch over the course of history for the sake of the future.
Hit that. And then Melina in Mortal Kombat 11. This is kind of a short list, I imagine. And you're pretty much excusing any RPG character that you make in general. And there's a 2000 to 2010s. See, the problem with an article like this is, like, Mass Effect is a great example where you could be bisexual with a lot of the characters anyways. And this outfit was just completely ridiculous. Like, it's a choice, certainly, but it's a choice I don't think that they really wanted to stand behind. But I guess there was... Yeah, the problem with an article like this is each of these is talking about mainstream games, not adult games, where if you balance this out with the number of adult mainstream games that aren't adult games, that don't basically state a sexuality of any of the characters, or the characters are just not sexual in any way, you get kind of a different picture. And because it's an article, they can only get so many examples to put in the article versus writing a whole thesis. many times has this been?
All to find a brighter future for everyone.
Let's go and hit that. Hit that. Hit that. And then here they continue 2010s in Skyrim. Apparently everybody can marry everybody. And Fallout 4. And Fallout New Vegas, Dragon Age 2. We're just kind of listing a game here. And then 2020, 2010s to 2010. Apparently you have Hades character in the Outer Worlds being mentioned also. And then I guess an ending for this character in that bad Mortal Kombat. Night in the Woods, Life is Strange mentioned. And then Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator, an Undertale, which honestly, Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator is the only actual adult game here, where if you started to throw in the adult games, I feel like you would have plenty more bisexuals for whatever it's worth. Also, you run into the problem of percentages here. You'd have to have a good, accurate number of how many people are considering themselves bisexual in the world. Is that 20% of the world or 20% of the United States, which would probably be a little bit more accurate, or is it 5%, or is it 10%, or is it 50%? Yeah. So without knowing that number, you can't even run a comparison on a specific media. I think if you did the exact same look at movies and TV, you would see just about the same numbers. Here, let's open these 2 packs. I was supposed to do that at the beginning of the stream and didn't even think about it. And there's not really a narrative you can get from any of this other than to say, yeah, they have been included in some small number, compared to, I suppose, saying, no, they've been intentionally, completely ignored, which, yeah, that's also a thing that sometimes happens. Let's see. Like, you're effectively completely ignoring things like Honey Pop as a game, which has plenty of bisexuals in it. And that would be a game that deserves to mention. Speaking of adult content, between March 18th and March 23, Nutaku has its Spring Break Stay-at-Home Edition sale going on. So there's some new updates to their games, for whatever that's worth. I guess I can sit on this one because it doesn't matter. And then I'm going to open 1 pack. We still aren't very close. Like, I would have to open 120 more packs to get to tradables. And I have 60 more gold, which really just highlights the fact that I haven't been playing the game much. Like, I've definitely not been spending extra time playing Shadowverse. Okay. Sorry, I'm still working on this new tab suspender I just installed. Now that I have like 2 installed at the moment. Works a little bit differently. Works kind of nicely. Does a little screenshot. So we'll see if that works for me. Liquefy that. I feel like the Witcher in the Witcher series was bisexual. I feel like that was a thing, and that just got kind of forgotten. We know he definitely slept was willing to sleep with some of the other women characters for sure. All right, well, since that article really didn't go anywhere and didn't have anything to say, like, if you're gonna make an opinion piece like that, you probably should just put in your own personal experience. Like, I would be much more interested in reading an article that says, I grew up feeling bisexual and this is how I related through video games, because that is a actual narrative to say, versus here is a Wikipedia list of characters I could find by searching Wikipedia and doing very little work. Apparently there's a sale of Binding of Isaac merchandise until March 31st. I only need like 1 victory, then I'd be done with all the daily quests. Alright, so now I am just going to go through my Twitter feed and see if we can see if I can find any new news, and then we'll wrap up. We've been going for 2 hours, so that's a reasonable amount of time, and we probably will be fine. I'm seeing some hype for Splatoon 3 coming out. Tegraptor has an article here. Latest Marvel Avengers update brings back some players, but it may not last. That's pretty much all I need to say, so I won't bother to open that in a new tab. The one thing that the Marvel Avengers game would have to do is go free to play and just relaunch with the same content, a completely different game, and I think also probably redo a lot of the art. Let's see. IdTech put out this video. A message from us to you. Thank you for your fans for supporting us. And then there's a video here that I can't hear the audio for, so seems like they're just saying thanks for your support 1 year after launch of Doom Eternal. Which, that's nice, I suppose. You can't really complain about somebody saying thanks. You know, if you do, you're pretty much a jerk at that point. There's an article I missed. Not sure I didn't just miss it though. I mean, the biggest news is that they're still talking about the layoffs at Activision Blizzard, which was something that they were talking about on Friday, if not Thursday. And Twitter still doesn't work. Like, I don't know what happened to Twitter, frankly. It just hasn't worked in over a week as far as consistently staying up and having long feeds. It'll just hit a point and then it will glitch. This is just taking forever, but I don't think what's happening here is a network issue. Like, my network seems to have worked perfectly today. And the only thing I could really even do is potentially try to up the speeds, but I don't want to even do that because I got the speeds on the quality of service turned up. One of the things I found out and realized through just digging deeper into the logs was that the DNS crypt on DDWRT by default was using port 30, which is not an assigned port number. Like, it's not associated with anything. And what it was doing was running one service through port 30 slower because the quality of service was not told to move that DNS encrypted information faster. So that was almost certainly leading to a slowdown of communication, and it was creating kind of a backlog of issues where I was opening a ton. It was opening a ton of ports and then not closing those ports. And having a bunch of open ports does tend to cause it to use more RAM. And so I'm delicately balancing an attempt to use the right amount of RAM, not too little and not too much, to have a fast transfer of data between the router and everything else. There were also some other settings that I think will improve and stop malformed DNS and DHCP packets from being allowed through. But the main issue still is that on my cell phone, the signal is just weak enough that every now and then it loses connection, and it probably should just disconnect there. This is going to take forever. Somebody subscribed to me on Twitter. Interesting. This is just going to take forever. Although that is actually going to prove an interesting point, because I'm not sure if these tabs reload when they're unsuspended or not, and I kind of want them to reload, or maybe not reload. It kind of depends. Let's see. Well, there's no new Humble Bundle. We have a game on Steam here called Clash of Iron, which looks like a cell phone war game. See if we can maybe get an idea of what the actual gameplay plays as. Yeah, it seems like it's too much of a mobile game. Free to play with in-app purchases. And that's going to be a problem. Guess we'll just do this.
All I need's an opening and you're toast.
And then do this.
Horns also make good web move.
That and that. TechRaptor has an article. A fan-made Dota 2 tutorial has launched. Okay. That's nice. That really shows the passion around Dota 2. Here we have a game called All In, which is tagged as a point-and-click economy roguelike, which seems like you're just running an inn. And yeah, this is one of those games where you're doing somebody's job, and doing someone's job tends to be very difficult to make fun. $8.99 English and Russian is asking a little too much for the visuals they're showing me. And Koch Media and Bloober Team announced a publishing partnership for physical editions of Observer, System Redux, and The Medium. Which, okay. Good to know. And at that point, that pretty much ends all the information I have to talk about today. I do have kind of duplicate tabs. So while we're waiting for this game to let me win, well, nope, I'm just gonna win here anyways.
You're a solid fighter.
Yep, there were a bunch of tabs that were closed, so by restoring what I had, that was the smart move. I think it was a smart move. Of course, now I kind of have duplicate windows, which is fine. I can clean that up.
I did it! I won!
Go ahead and close that one. Go ahead and let's see. We can, I think, go ahead and close the chat too. Close my chat thing. Close that one. Close that one. I have like 4 different windows open right now. Like, because of the Adafruit Pi Day sale, I ended up getting a Circuit Playground Express, and it's another gadget for me to potentially play around with and have a project on or two. Although the Circuit Playground Express is arguably too expensive a device for people to learn on compared to an Arduino, because Arduinos are much dumbed down and they don't have microphones and LEDs and temperature and gyrometers. Like, so you've got this like tiny little circular disc in the Circuit Playground Express that is a little too expensive to do anything permanent with, and is just there to hand to kids to play with if you are fairly rich. Whereas I think most people probably would be better off being handed a bigger kit of Arduino stuff and having to attach LEDs and add other elements through breadboards or through soldering, and that's, I think, what the Circuit Playground Express is trying to avoid. I don't think Adafruit makes enough versions of it either. There probably should be a dumbed down version that doesn't have the half of the elements on it, and then instead you have to solder them on yourself, or you pick and choose what elements you want, and then that raises the price. If you could custom order one with just a microphone but no speaker, or just a speaker but no microphone, there might be better ways to implement that. Oh, there was a story here. Japanese has trademarked Katana Engine by Koei Tecmo, Lost Judgment by Sega, The Centennial Case by Square Enix. So several Japanese companies have put in trademarks that probably were just approved, giving us hints to Japanese games that we probably don't recognize. Also, Astro City Mini is coming to North America via Limited Run Games. I knew I had opened these tabs and I just missed them. Let's see. Seems like it includes 37 games of Sega Genesis style era games. And I guess I can just go back to the top of my Twitter feed just to see if there's any other new news. Nope. Alright, well, then that's going to be it for this stream. We actually did get to end early today, just because I think it was a slow day and there just wasn't that much news. Even though I slowed down like crazy throughout this stream and definitely need to take a nap. That's it for the stream. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. That's what YouTube wants of me. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links. And if you want to support me further, you could follow me on Patreon, support me there, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game or a gift card. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.